All right, welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Targeted Individual Experience. So, why am I doing this video? Again, I talk about how they always try to engage in sending me the subliminal message about taking away my disability because the fact that they have disabled me and I have began to expose what it is that they have been doing to us as TIs and to me, my brother, and others with the illegal implantation of microchip, right? And how I talked about how the U.S. government have been engaging in cognitive warfare, neurocognitive warfare against the black community for decades, okay? And that when the fact that they have disabled us either through psychological violence, through setups and frame-ups in order to try to silence us from coming forward and speaking the truth, they use the threat of punishment by taking away disability, by engaging in, what is called operant conditioning or dark NLP, negative psychology or dark psychology against us, against our minds, against the people around us, so they can cover up what it is that they do, all right, and then give a false perception to the ignorant Negropeans out there about what it is that they have done and what they continue to do, and try to make it seem like they have not disabled us as TIs. Okay, even though we have the medical records to prove it. Not only do I have the medical records for my spine, but also the neurological damage that they've done, and always trying to get away with things because I may remember certain things, as I talked about that, right? So, and I don't have, and what they do is that I try to instill a level of fear. And I notice it particularly when, like I said, whenever I scream out in pain and my back is hurting me and I moan or yell because I'm in pain, whether it be the headaches also, that they use the police sirens in order to try to silence me. So when those things will happen again, then I wouldn't say anything. This is decades of trying to condition me into not say anything, right? Which again, doesn't work because I already do the research. I already know. This is why I document and I do these videos, right, as proof. And so I was talking to one of the neighbors. I was talking for a while, older black man. And of course, they haven't believed in that whole thing that black on black crime is a thing, what have you. Okay, black on black crime is a thing, but also is white on white crime. That's a thing. Also Hispanic on Hispanic crime. That's a thing. Arab against Arab on Arab crime. That's a thing. Asian on Asian crime. That's a thing, right? But they focus on black people and they lie. And they talk about how 50% of homicides are committed against, committed by black people, right? By black men in particular. But they never give you any data. These are just talking points, right? They never give you any data, only talking points, right? So when you ask them, how did they come up with that number? They're not going to tell you. They'll say, oh, go look at the FBI latest data statistic, which they don't even do. Because if they go look at the FBI data statistics, they will see that that's not true. Okay? They will literally see that that is not true. Right? And here's the thing. There are 48 million black people in America. The latest FBI data statistics, I think they do this every 10 years, was 2019. And a total of 2,900 black people were killed. Right? Black 2,900. There were 2,900 black people were killed. Out of the 2,900, about 2,400 of the perpetrators were black, but then the other 500 or so were of other ethnic group, right? Now let's look at the statistics now. Okay, so if you take that 2,400 divided by 48 million times it by 100, you get a percentage of 0.012 or 13. All right, that is a very insignificant number. Okay, so they're not about telling you the truth. They're about spewing their racist lie and have us repeat their racist lie without doing any sort of research because they know we're not going to do the research. They know that we don't have the ability. The majority of us don't have the ability to look at the research and to do these things. Okay, and shout out to Media Man, one of the who I always say he's another version of how I think. You know what I'm saying? Like we literally think. We just don't take people's word for it. We actually do the research. Okay? So then we were talking about, Pam's neighbor downstairs talking about crime, and I asked him, I said, well, what is the biggest indicator of crime? And he says poverty. So the fact that he knows this, right? Excuse me, I'm making myself some food. So the fact that he knows this, but yet come up with this nonsense about the majority of crime in the black community is committed by black people. Of course, the majority of crime in the white community are committed by white people. The majority of crime in the Asian community are committed by Asian people. The majority of crime in the Hispanic community are committed by Hispanic people. Again, basic common sense things. But somehow, when it comes to black people, we're so isolated in that mindset that we don't see that, right? Though you can go look at the statistics, go look at, because we know crime is based on the proximity of the people living together, okay? So, for example, black people don't travel out of their way to go to Long Island where majority white people to commit crime. If you look at the crimes that are committed out in Long Island where it's majority white people, it's white people that's committing those crimes, okay? So we're talking about this, and I talk about poverty, right? And how black people, because of the systemic oppression of black people, a lot of us don't think that we're systemic oppression because we can go out and get a loan and buy a Mercedes-Benz, right? This is how our stupidity works, right? We're so in love with the material things that you'll see brothers driving around with Mercedes-Benz, BMW, right? Living house poor or apartment poor. You know what I'm saying? And they think that, that they're the shit. They think that they're bigger than bad because, you ever see a black man driving a fancy car, you think he's better than anybody else because of his car that he drives. We put value in those things. We use those things to give us confidence. I don't have to do those things. I don't have to have a Mercedes-Benz to have confidence in myself and to know my worth. Those things don't give me worth. They don't give me value. Okay? All it does is attract the wrong attention. That's what it does. Okay? Whether it be from women or from other men who want to take it from you. Right? Or women and men who will conspire together to take it from you. Right? But that's our mindset. Like I said, my brothers, we have to become smart and think, and we have to understand what's going on because in the next decade, those men driving those Mercedes-Benz will no longer be able to afford these things. Okay? Because of our lack of ignorance of what is going on, what is going to take place. Right? So then they'll send me subliminal message about, because I'm not in a wheelchair or some shit like that. That's why they use the wheelchair theme. Then, I shouldn't be on disability, right? But again, I want you to understand how they use us TIs and how they condition the people within the society to engage in attacking us in that way. While if something happens to them, they will no longer be able to get on disability. Right? So understand how cognitive warfare works. And in terms when I talk about the catch-22, getting the people in your community to get their hands dirty, right, in committing psychological crimes against you, or covert crimes like covert drugging, all these other things against you, right, so that they can't come forward and speak the truth because they will be implicated in the crimes against you, right? This is the society that we're living in. We've been living in this society. We're just too ignorant. Either we're participating in it willfully or we're being manipulated into participating in it. Okay? So let's talk about the theft, right? Because again, white people always put black people as the face of every damn thing, welfare. Or it's black women as the face of welfare when 75 million white people are on welfare compared to only, I think it was 50 million black people who, not even, it might be less than that, okay? Black people who receive some form of government assistance. Now that does not mean welfare. It could be Medicare, stuff like that, right? All right, but let's look at the private institution, because not only do we know the government steal money from the taxpayers and the American people, because we know the majority of the money that they get in taxes don't go to the social network program. It goes to corporations, it goes to white Americans on welfare, and it goes to the military-industrial complex, right? But yet they will use black people and associate these things with black people when black people don't make up a vast, significant number of people that are on these programs. Okay? But let's look at the bank. And let's look at how America has stolen billions of money from black people and to make sure that black people do not have generational wealth. Okay? So this is AI. And I asked AI, how big banks steal from black people? All right. Now I want you to understand that when you're using AI, understand this, that the people who created AI are going to leave some things out. So when it comes to corporations, the financial industry, and how they steal money from black people, whether it be in overdraft fees, whether it be in ATM fees that they used to do, and some banks still do that, right? How they steal money from black people. So predatory, and again because they are predators, and discrimination banking practices have historically disproportionately harmed black communities, hindering, listen to this. So even when you ask AI these things, these white racists, these white supremacists, even the black Sambos and Sambinas will still continue to blame black people for the condition that we're in, right? Historically, have historically and disproportionately harmed black communities, hindering the accumulation of generational wealth. Now listen to this, which is not true. While there are no recent instances of literal theft on the scale of billions, in the way, listen to this now, in the way of the Freedmen Bank was looted, right? So we know the Freedmen Bank was the black bank opened in the 1930s and 40s, in which black people had put money in to the tunes of billions of dollars, right? Just as how black people built towns that were vibrant, that they built businesses, they employed each other, as well as employ white people also. They didn't discriminate against white people. They also employed white people also. And what happens? Racist, jealous white people. So when white people always talk about, oh, we're jealous of them. No, it's the other way around. They're jealous of us. And they have done everything in their power to make sure that black people don't have generational wealth, are sick in many ways, obesity, all that stuff come from a white program created by white people to destroy black people. This you must know. Not believe, but you must know. Okay? So, while there are no recent instances of literal theft on the scale of billions in the way the Freedmen Bank was looted, modern abuse still exists, costing black people hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, not hundreds, it's still billions. Okay, when we look at the housing practices and how they cheat black homeowners out of wealth, all right, through through their home appraisal, right, through buying a home, charging them more, through when selling their home, giving them a low appraisal on their home, while the neighbor, the white neighbor across the street, and where that black family has spent almost $100,000 upgrading their home, right? That their white neighbor's home somehow is more valuable, right? Even though the black homeowners have a better home, a more up-to-date home, more recent home, right? In terms of the fixing up of the home, remodeling of the home, right? To make it more modern, more up to code, or even above code, right? That white neighbor who hasn't done anything to that home in 30 years, somehow that home is still more valuable and sell for more, praised for more than the home owned by the black homeowners. Okay? Understand that. All right? So, historical examples, the Freedmen Bank. The most well-documented and devastated instance of a banking institution stealing from black people is the collapse of the Freedmen Savings and Trust Company known as the Freedmen Bank. Now tell me again that white people are not conscious and how it's all implicit bias, that somehow they just do things like this out of the fact they subconsciously do it. No, they plan these things. They executed these things. Okay? So, the most well-documented and devastating instances of a banking institution stealing from black people is the collapse of the Freedmen Savings and Trust Company, also known as the Freedmen Bank. The purpose of the Freedmen Bank, founded in 1865, again, I was wrong on my year, the bank was established to help formerly enslaved people build economic stability, which again, white people do not want black people to have economic stability, right? The Negropeans can go out there and save their money, whatever, to buy Mercedes Benz. I see some of them driving, luxury vehicles, right? You know what I'm saying? But still living in an apartment building in a in a neighborhood like the one I live in, right? Why? Okay? Because we have a backwards mindset when it comes to the values, things that we should value the most. Okay? So, founded in 1865, the bank, you hear the sirens in the background there? Founded in 1865, the bank was established to help formerly enslaved people build economic stability. Black Americans contribute millions of dollars, amounting to billions in modern currency, to the institution. The betrayal. The bank was mismanaged and eventually looted by white trustees and investors. See, we should have learned never, ever trust the white financial institution. As a matter of fact, never trust this racist system in all of its institutions, period. But we have not learned that. Okay? So they use depositors' money as a personal slush fund, engaging in risky and corrupt loans for personal gains. The bank failed in 1974, robbing over 61,000 black families of their savings and destroying generational wealth. Right? And guess what? None of those trustees were ever convicted of any crime. Okay? They didn't have to pay black people back that money. Nothing at all. Okay? This betrayal was devastated and severely damaged trust in the financial system. Examples of modern examples of discriminatory lending and subprime mortgages. Right? While not outright theft, no, it is outright theft. Modern day discrimination in banking and predatory lending has continued to extract wealth from black communities. Subprime mortgage crisis. A 2011 settlement with Bank of America over its countrywide financial subsidiary provided evidence of racist practices. The bank was accused of pushing black and Hispanic borrowers into subprime high-interest loans even when they qualify for prime loans. These predatory mortgages specifically targeted minority communities and disproportionately contributed to the loss of homes during the 2008 financial crisis. Loan denial. In 2021, not that long ago, the study of nearly 16,000 mortgage applicants across 55 lending institutions found that black applicants were significantly more likely to have their loans denied than their white counterparts with similar financial profiles. Okay? Understand this. Right? Financial factors contributing to financial injustice. So they will not go and arrest these criminals, right? But they will come and take your home. Okay? They will engage in all these illegal practices, which they should be arrested for, right? But you losing your home to their crimes that they've committed against you, and that's okay. Again, we need to look at the reality of the situation that we're in, and on our reality. Okay, stop with the bullshit, religious bullshit. We need to get rid of that shit. Get rid of it. It is not serving us any good. Systemic factors contributing to financial injustice. Beyond individual cases, systemic factors within the banking industry perpetuate financial inequality. Red line. Again, all these things you can go look at. And again, financial literacy, boycotting versus supporting black-owned banks, and so forth and so forth. Right? Now you can Google this. Look at this. All this stuff. Right? $1 billion bank job. Right? Go look at the New York Times. Okay? They continue to steal money from us. When I talk about how they sell our personal information, because they have people working in the hospitals, they have people working in the doctor's office that give them access to our private information, and they sell it to the tune of $500 billion a year. Okay? All right, this is. And again, the Black Lives Matter thing, these people don't understand, particularly women, and how they're being manipulated and used as tools to discredit black organization, particularly when it comes to the disproportionate killing of black people, particularly black men, at the hands of police. And it's interesting, no one even think about this, so the fact that they use black women who are lesbian, that don't have a husband, right? As the leader of a movement that is meant to bring awareness to the killing of particularly unarmed black men, because we know unarmed black women gets killed too, but that's very rare, right? The most of the time is unarmed black men, right? And then because they understand women's mindset, right? Then waited because they know what was going to happen with these women with all these donations, because they understand the mindset of how women are conditioned, particularly when they grow up in poverty, and particularly when they have no one around them to tell them anything, because they don't even want to hear anything, particularly from a man, right? Then accuse them of using that money to live a luxurious lifestyle. But that's women, period, right? But black women in particular are more susceptible to that sort of behavior because of the fact that, you know, when women feel victimized in some way, and again, these women were not victimized. There were other black people who were victimized, but they will always manipulate those within the community, right? Because they know our personality traits, they know our likes, our dislikes, because they've helped shape those things and how to manipulate us. And then not only that, but pulling the rug from under the Black Lives Matter movement so that we as black people will no longer have trust in that organization. So they do it from within, COINTELPRO, right? We got to think broader, but because how we're conditioned as black people, our ignorance and our belief system prevents us from having a critical thinking mind, from keeping those people around us who know these things, because particularly our women don't want to hear the truth. All right? So understand how cognitive warfare works and neurocognitive warfare, because all of those things, that is the umbrella in which all these other things, these programs, manipulative programs against black people fall under. Okay? So talk to you guys in the next video.